The truth about self-sabotage. What if the person ruining your life is trying to save it? Not a stranger in the dark, not a rival across the room, but the quiet figure who moves your hand just slightly at the crucial moment. The delay, the hesitation, the word blurted out that collapses something beautiful you are not sure you wanted to hold. Everyone says it's fear. Everyone says it's laziness, a lack of discipline, some moral flaw. But what if self-sabotage is a plan, old and careful, drafted by a part of you that refuses to speak in adult language? Carl Jung once offered a sentence like a key slipped under a locked door. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Self-sabotage is the footprint of that hidden director. You feel it when the entire architecture of your effort springs a leak. You feel it under your skin like a storm arriving without wind, a change in pressure. The day you need to shine, that day you go silent. The morning you need to show up early, your body steers you toward a lie. The evening you could say yes to a life, your mouth says no and calls it prudence. Who is orchestrating this? You are, and not you. Jung learned to track this not you the way one tracks a shy animal through a forest, by broken twigs, by the angle of a leaf, by the strange hush of birds when a larger shape moves past. The unconscious, to him, was not a garbage pile for bad habits, nor a polite box for dreams. It was a living field, an ecology of ancient images and weather systems, a dark river of intentions and warnings that runs right beneath the kitchen floor. It is not primitive in the sense of stupid. It is old in the sense of wise. It remembers what your family agreed not to remember. It knows what your body learned before your first language grew teeth, and it does not care about your calendar. We sabotage ourselves because something in us knows the cost of the thing we want. It remembers blood debts and loves woven like nets, remembers how we learned to be safe by walking around a father's temper or a mother's sadness, by hiding our brightness so someone else didn't dim. The persona you present to the world, the worker who always performs, the charming friend who never complains, the romantic who forgives, was built to earn approval and avoid punishment. Behind that mask is another figure, the shadow, carrying all the traits you shoved into darkness to keep your place in the room. But the shadow is not content with exile. Its horns are long. It finds the switchboard. It flicks the lights. A paradox is born. The grown part of you builds a bridge. The hidden part shakes the scaffolding. The saboteur makes you late or loose your nerve. It steers you toward the familiar disaster rather than the unknown good. This is not random. Jung said our psyches are self-regulating. When we tilt too far toward one-sidedness, when we inflate into ambition without humility, or drown in harmony without truth, the unconscious compensates. It whispers at first, and it bleeds ink into your dreams. Then it knocks over your life. What looks like betrayal might be a rough attempt at balance. Jung knew this not as theory, but as necessity. After he broke with Freud, he fell into what looked like a controlled madness, a crisis that poured images into his waking life. He did not flee, he went down. He met the characters who lived inside his head. He asked them questions. He drew them like maps. He built a tower of stone with his hands at the edge of a lake, a sanctuary that looked like an older century had walked back into his century and declared it too fast. He filled a red book with the painted interior doors, deserts, kings, serpents, gods. He spoke to the layers and learned their intentions. He did not try to kill the saboteur. He listened to it. What if the reasons you break your own momentum were born as solutions, intelligent, even loving? The child who exploded her own success to prevent being isolated. The boy who failed at sports to hold on to the father who would only comfort a loser. The teenager who learned to be underestimated because being seen meant being harmed. These are not villains. They are guardians created by a person without power, still alive inside a person with choices. And guardians who do not know they can retire can become dangerous. So we stand here with two truths. You are undermining yourself, and you have excellent reasons. The horror is that both truths can live in one body, one voice, one calendar. The puzzle is how to unbraid them without tearing the entire rope. Jung's way was not to hack at the knot. It was to notice the feeling-toned complexes, all those knots of memory and emotion that behave like small personalities inside you, and to treat them like citizens with voting rights. That is the first forbidden thought. You are not one person. You are many, and some of them will do anything to protect what once saved you. When you hear the click of the inner trap snapping shut, when you sense the day going dark for no external reasons, stop telling yourself you're weak. Ask the question Jung would have asked: who inside me is trying to keep me old? Where did they learn that? What does my sabotage protect me from? That question opens a door in the floor, and it drops you into the second forbidden thought. What if your sabotage is a message made of action because you ignored the words? Listen to how the sabotage speaks. It does not write you letters. It makes you forget increasingly important things. It pushes you to say the sentence that drives a lover away. It whispers you toward a bottle on the night before you want to be bright. It insists on one more video, one more glance at a face that will never answer your hunger. You think you are choosing. What if you are being moved? And what if the mover is a story you swore you were done with, but carried like contraband under a loose shirt from the old country? Jung believed we are myth-making creatures. The unconscious is not a file system. It is a theater. The figures on that stage are not delusions. They are the impersonal energies life has always used to move us, both into building temples and into burning them down. The trickster, the king, the orphan, the mother, the lover, the warrior, the sage. These are very old actors wearing your face. Self-sabotage is often the trickster in a mask of concern. It spills the wine. It hides the key. It makes a joke at the funeral of your old self, and then throws the punchline at the wrong moment. The trickster is not evil. It is the force that dismantles rigidity, that refuses sanctimony. But when you refuse to dance with it, it dances anyway and knocks over your chair. The truth about self-sabotage, if we start the confession properly, is that it might be your shadow begging you not to disappear into an admirable life that is not yours. It might be an early loyalty that refuses betrayal. It might be the psyche guarding you from inflation, from the hubris of believing your persona is all you are. Or it might be simple inertia that has welded itself to your bones and needs to be gently pried loose, not with violence, but with attention. Jung's proposal is both terrifying and liberating. If the thing stopping you has intelligence, you can talk to it. And if you can talk to it, you might hear the terms under which it will let you pass. Before we go further, keep one picture in your pocket. Imagine your mind as a house with many rooms. In one is the tidy study of your public self. In another, a narrow closet of shame where you keep the parts of you don't show. Down a corridor, a nursery where a child still plays with the old rules. Deeper still, a chapel where your soul waits for sunlight in stained glass color. And under the stairs, there is a workshop where the saboteur lives, not as a villain, but a mechanic who keeps pulling out a piece of the engine whenever he senses you are about to drive too fast toward a cliff he can't see around. He is nervous. He has saved your life before. He will keep doing it until someone tells him the road has changed. We will go speak to him. Consider Elena. Her hands are steady. In the operating room, noise dampens into focus, and there is a reverence to her precision that borders on the religious. Outside the hospital, she keeps trying to sit for the final board exam that will grant her the authority she already embodies. Yet every time something happens, migraines bloom like a late frost. An argument with her partner becomes nuclear. A minor cold grows teeth. She calls it bad timing. Her friends call it stress. Her therapist calls it resistance. Listen more closely. The night before the test, Elena dreams of a small boy standing alone in a corridor, clutching a worn toy. He cries without sound. No one comes. In the morning, Elena wakes with a fever. Is this coincidence or choreography? Jung would not call this fever an accident. He might call it compensation, the unconscious answering Elena's relentless competence in the only language she has left it. As a child, Elena learned to be the hero of her family. Her mother's sadness was a weather system that settled over the house. Her father disappeared into work. Elena discovered that to be good meant to be indispensable, to keep the grown-ups upright by anticipating their needs. Now, the board exam is another altar where she can offer her sacrifice total availability, no room for error, a kind of holy annihilation in service. But the psyche, wise and cruel, refuses annihilation. It flings her into illness to prevent her from disappearing entirely into a mask. The saboteur is saying, become a doctor, but not at the price of the child alone in the corridor. Bring him too, or we shut this down. Or take Aaron, a songwriter with talent that trips off him like honey. He writes music that makes backyards go quiet, but when it comes time to release the songs, he loses the files, misses meetings, and picks fights with producers who praise him too sincerely. The pattern is reliable. In secret, he believes two things: that his father will only respect him if he earns money in a real way, and that the part of him that writes is too tender to survive the marketplace. The saboteur builds the perfect trap. Keep making brilliance in the night. Keep destroying every bridge that might bring it into the day. This way, neither God is offended. The father has no success to resent. The inner child is kept from exposure. The cost is a life in parentheses. Now hear Mara. She is loved, and that is the problem. Every time a partner looks at her with a kind of quiet, ordinary devotion that stable relationship demands, her body panics. She starts scanning for imperfections, watching for signs of boredom or contempt. Then she creates what she fears. Her voice goes sharp. She tests loyalty by withdrawing, then exploding. When, at last, her partner leaves, Mara collapses with relief. The world has returned to its reliable loneliness. This is sabotage's prophecy. Her childhood taught her closeness is a trap where your voice disappears. Her unconscious finds ways to keep that prophecy true, because the opposite piece feels like a room without air. When Jung spoke of complexes, he meant autonomous constellations of memory and emotion. They can seize the ego like a storm takes a ship. A mother complex can move your feet toward caretaking until your own life is a rumor. A father complex can fuse success with threat until you undermine your own rise to stay loyal to the old order of power. The pure Eternus, the eternal adolescent, loves the high of beginnings and flees the grief of maintenance. The fortress you built from rehearsal dinners and updated resumes is surrounded by the old guard. They do not trust change. The moment you approach a threshold, they blow the bridge. At the crossings, a figure appears in all mythologies, the threshold guardian. Jung would call it archetypal. In our lives, it wears the face of exhaustion, an invitation to a party the night before the interview, a sudden compulsion to tell a personal story to the wrong person, a blankness that settles over your mind when you reach for the right word. These are not always clumsy. Sometimes the sabotage is elegant. You train for months, then tweet a sentence that burns a decade in an hour. The trickster bows. This is where it gets cruel. The world will applaud your sabotaged self because your sabotage often makes you useful. If you keep taking on work you secretly hate, your manager will call you a team player. If you keep repairing your partner's moods, your friends will call you generous. If you drink to stay funny and avoid the deeper questions, the party will keep inviting you. Those who benefit from your sabotage will become your allies against your own growth. They will hand you the masks and clap when you wear them. The unconscious, watching this theater, grows impatient. It raises the stakes. Jung described a law that the Greeks knew: enantiodromia, the running into the opposite. If you push too far to one side, the other side grows in secret strength, then strikes. The overly nice person says something unforgivable. The rigid ascetic wakes in a hotel room he does not recognize. The visionary burns out and moves to a small town, evangelical for boredom. If we live in extremes, the psyche will drag us toward the middle by wrecking whatever boat we insisted on, sailing too close to the rocks. Self-sabotage is often the wreck, a violent swing into the other pole when we refuse to respect it quietly. But there is a different sabotage, almost tender, that looks like laziness, yet hides a kind of resistance to an entire cultural demand. You keep failing to build the brand, not because you cannot, but because something in you refuses to become a product. You keep missing the gym not because you hate your body, but because the way you are trying to punish yourself alive violates a softer intelligence. The unconscious often pushes back against a life that is too far from the soul. It will not allow obedience forever. It is not moral. It is faithful to you. Here the story darkens. Not all sabotage is wise. Sometimes it is simply the inertia of a nervous system that learned to freeze and cannot tolerate the thaw. A child who survived on stillness can become an adult whose ambition collapses whenever pressure rises. This is not a guardian with strategic brilliance. This is a body that cannot yet bear aliveness. The solution is not a speech about discipline. It is a new apprenticeship to sensation, an increase in capacity through care, not scolding. Jung would say, the psyche is not only our thoughts, it is our flesh and our breath. To ask a frozen deer to run because the wolves are coming is to misunderstand nature. You warm it first. Stories like Elena's and Aaron's and Mara's are not confessions for an advice column. They are maps of the ways we collude with our own defeats, because parts of us are convinced defeat is safer than transformation. We sabotage, not to be miserable, but to be intact. The pain is that staying intact this way makes us miserable anyway. The anger we throw at ourselves is the wrong tool. The right tool looks like turning around in the dark and inviting the saboteur to sit beside you on the floor. Tell me what you want for me, You say, "Tell me what you fear. Tell me why you turned off the lights." The momentum of our culture is acceleration. When you slow down, your sabotage will become audible. It lacks a social media strategy. It lacks the loudness of external praise. It often speaks if you dare to do nothing for 20 minutes. The man who keeps tanking his startup's dreams, he is a boy sweeping the floors of his family's failing grocery store while his father stares through him. The woman who sabotages intimacy dreams, she is in a house where every window is nailed shut. Interpreting dreams is not about fortune-telling. It is an act of respect toward the language the psychic soil prefers. Symbol. When you speak to your sabotage in its own tongue, you become, in Jung's sense, civilized. We are not yet at the revelation. We are only consciousness gathering courage to look at the intention behind the wreckage. The nervous thought flickers. If I listen, will the sabotage stop? Jung would answer, if you listen, it may change its job. It may no longer need to knock down your life to get your attention. It may become a counselor rather than a vandal. But it may also ask you to change in ways that threaten the alliances you built. It may ask you to disobey a family myth that has kept everyone small and safe. You may have to become visible, and visibility is a moral event. It makes demands. So before we move deeper, ask yourself who you are without the story that you always ruin it at the last minute. Who would you offend if you stopped breaking your own ladders? Where would your allegiance shift if you carried your gifts past the nervous guard at the gate? And can you bear the loneliness that follows the first hours of real freedom? The sensation that no one is applauding because you are no longer performing for the old gods? If not, your saboteur will keep you company. It will pull you back into the reliable prison, and it will smile with victory even as you cry. Here is the twist. The saboteur is not only guarding your wounds, it is guarding your gold. The shadow, Jung said, is not a trash pile. It is also a treasure chest. What you exile is not only anger, envy, greed. It is also power, brilliance, tenderness, the ability to receive love without paying for it with your disappearance. The trickster who ruins your careful plans is also the one who refuses to let you turn your life into a checklist. The complex that makes you tremble at success is also the keeper of the question. Success at what? For whom? On what terms? Think of a young man named Theo who cannot stop talking. In meetings, at dinners, with new friends, his voice runs like a river, seeking rocks to smash against. He interrupts until people flinch. He makes jokes that bruise. He is not trying to be cruel. He is trying to outrun a silence that once meant danger. His father's moods were a weather god's whims. Quiet meant a storm was gathering. Talking was a spell to keep the thunder away. Now his sabotage is not a moral failing. It is a ritual gone stale. Inside the complex is a child who learned to survive. Inside that child is a musician who can listen closely enough to make a room feel held. Theo's sabotage is the broken surface hiding the pearl. Give him enough safety, and his listening arrives, and with it, his leadership. But he will not find that pearl by shaming himself into being quiet. He will find it by holding the child who believes silence summons harm. Jung's psychology honors teleology, the idea that the psyche moves toward purposes, not just away from pain. Dreams compensate, yes, but they also invite. The sabotage that pulls you away from a job you can do perfectly may be pulling you toward a vocation that requires the rest of you. The sabotage that wrecks your romance may be forcing you to face the particular pattern you are addicted to, chasing the Unloving parents echo in the beloved's voice so that you can love an actual person rather than your projection. The sabotage that costs you money may be demanding you learn limits so that later, when something precious arrives, you can hold it without dropping it. Look deeper still. Many of our sabotages are not personal at all. They are ancestral. A grandparent lost everything in war. You feel dizzy when your bank account grows past a number no one in your family ever saw. A mother abandoned her country to survive. You sabotage stability to honor the unspoken commandment that motion is safety. Families carry invisible contracts. We agree to keep secrets, to stay honest in the wrong way loyal to suffering. Jung did not treat this lightly. He spoke of the collective unconscious, the river that feeds the individual with motifs older than any single name. Your sabotage may be echoing a communal trauma, a ritual reenactment of catastrophe in lieu of grieving it. When that is true, mere willpower won't help. You must mourn. You must become the first in your line to set down a bag no one else would touch. Even deeper, the saboteur sometimes protects you from possession by the persona ego inflation. Success can be a drug for the insecure. The moment the world starts clapping, you may translate applause into identity. Jung called the inflated personality, the mana personality, the one who believes he is a small god. The unconscious despises this. The saboteur trips you on the red carpet, forces humility, keeps the human in you alive. If you can receive that blow with gratitude, the saboteur may soften. If you resist, it will become ruthless. Archetypally, the saboteur often carries the trickster's torch. The trickster is a boundary crosser and a teacher. He humiliates kings and steals fire. He gets caught in his own traps and laughs. In modern terms, the trickster might be the part of you that refuses optimization. That throws a wrench into your productivity machine because it knows there is such a thing as a soul, and it is not a spreadsheet. He will make you accidentally delete an email that would have taken you further down a road you took because everyone else was walking it. He will break your phone. You will curse him at first. Later, you will understand that without him, you would have become a fanatic without a heart. The anima and animus terms for the inner feminine in men and the inner masculine in women can also act as saboteurs when they are unconscious. The unintegrated anima in a man can flood him with mood and longing, drowning his discernment and steering him toward loves that feel like fate but are actually projections of his own unheld vulnerability. The unintegrated animus in a woman can fill her head with harsh opinions and relentless shoulds, a chorus of internal judges undermining her real rhythm. Integration doesn't mean silencing these figures. It means meeting them, giving them work that is worthy. The anima becomes a muse who blesses relationships grounded in reality. The animus becomes a builder of boundaries and words. Unmet, they sabotage. Befriended, they guide. What makes all this difficult is that the ego hates humility. It prefers the story where we are simply cowards who must become brave, or fools who must become smart. Neurobiology, inner child, ancestral trauma, it is all too mysterious for the part of us that wants checklists. But the psyche is closer to weather than to math. If you want the storm to change, you cannot simply order the clouds to move. You must alter the pressure. You must plant trees. You must stop burning the fields. You must, paradoxically, stop trying to be someone you are not. The sabotage very often ends when you choose the actual path that fits your soul's gate, not the path that flatters your persona. Imagine a woman named Priya who keeps sabotaging her doctoral thesis. Years pass, she starts to believe she is broken. Then she dreams of a kitchen full of spices, a grandmother singing. She wakes with a hunger that has nothing to do with academia. She begins to cook, to feed her friends, then strangers. Her thesis gathers dust. A cousin sneers. A professor is disappointed. But the saboteur stops its tricks. Priya is suddenly capable of long, focused work on a cookbook that becomes not a trend, but a revelation. Had she forced the thesis, she would have succeeded into an illness. Her sabotage was a compass disguised as a thief. This does not sanctify every ruin. Sometimes we wreck ourselves because addiction has us by the throat, because we cannot tolerate good things yet, because we are organized around a bitterness that gives us identity. Jung would not give you a hall pass out of responsibility. He would give you a mirror that shows you more of yourself than you have been willing to see. He would ask, what does this pattern serve? Who is fed when you starve yourself this way? He would not let you answer only with shame. He would wait for the other answer, the one that contains a map. Why maps? Because the way out is not through warfare, but through orientation. If you can name the complex, you are less possessed by it. If you can see the trickster's paw prints, you can laugh when he tries his old tricks and invite him into a better job. If you can call the inner judge animus and ask him to draft a contract rather than a curse, he might become useful. If you can let the inner child cry in your arms rather than on your calendar, the sabotage that used to break your plans may slow. Think back to Jung in his tower, carving Latin maxims into stone, listening to dreams not as nonsense, but as letters from a deep intelligence. He was not perfect. He was human and messy, but he modeled a stance, approached the unconscious with respect, courted like a wild animal that could feed you or eat you. It has something you cannot grow alone, a wider view. It knows where your gifts went when you stopped believing in them. It knows why you fall apart at the same hour every night. It knows what you are avoiding. It is not sentimental. It does not flatter. But it will meet you if you meet it. And the revelation is this. Self-sabotage is often the unconscious attempting to veto a misalignment. It is a clumsy vote for the life that would actually fit you, cast by a part of you that speaks in sabotage because you ignored it when it whispered in dreams. Let that reframe everything you have called failure. Do not worship your sabotage. Do not obey it blindly, but ask it what it loves. Ask it what it refuses. Ask it how to bring the forgotten gold home without tearing down the house. There is a moment in every honest life when you stop negotiating with the weather and step out into the rain. The moment you say, I will not call this storm weakness anymore. I will call it what it is, a visitation, a mood, a figure at the threshold who has something to tell me. That's when the real work starts. Because the deeper truth about self-sabotage is that it is fueled by feelings we have not yet allowed ourselves to feel. Grief, terror, rage, longing, these are big animals. You did not invite them because they smashed the dishes, but they are also the keepers of your face. Jung would send people back into their dreams, not as entertainment, as consultation. You write down the images and you sit with them. The night before you blow another deadline, you dream of a locked room at the end of a hall. You jolt awake and reach for your phone, then you stop. You remember the dream. You write, locked room, end of hall. When the urge to scroll arrives, you go sit with that phrase as if it were a friend with bad news. You close your eyes and imagine the door. You ask, may I enter? The mind offers a whisper. Maybe the door opens to a childhood scene you swore didn't matter. Maybe your father is asleep in a chair, and you are watching his chest to make sure it rises. Suddenly, your procrastination looks less like laziness and more like a nervous system that learned to be vigilant instead of present. You do not scold a soldier for developing the skill that kept him alive. You invite him to set down his weapon when the war is over. There is a ritual that changes things. It is not dramatic. It does not make for viral content. It is a daily covenant that says, I will make a small appointment with the part of me that ruins my appointments. I will light a candle or sit in the car for 10 minutes before I walk into the building, or take a slow shower and ask the saboteur what it intends today. I will not expect an answer at first. I will repeat the ritual anyway. The unconscious notices patience. It softens under kindness the way winter softens under spring. When the first syllables come, write them down. You need not believe them. You only need to listen. But there is another step that modern people like to skip: the body. Jung understood that psyche includes matter. Your self-sabotage is not only a thought. It is a posture, a clench, a habit of breath. When you near the moment you always ruin, watch your body. Do your shoulders crawl toward your ears? Does your stomach go hard? Do your eyes glaze? This is the sabotage arriving early, like fog. It is possible to interrupt the pattern not by force, but by a ritual of presence. 3 deep breaths, a hand on your ribs, a sentence spoken aloud. I see you. We are safe. We can still choose. The saboteur does not like to be seen. It functions best in blind repetition. Turn on a small lamp. Even tenderness is radical when you have been trained in contempt. Our culture mistakes cruelty for truth. We bark at our mistakes. We punish our hesitation. No wonder the sabotage doubles down. It recognizes the enemy it was built to fight. If you can become curious, truly curious, the game changes. Curiosity is a solvent. It works slowly. It can dissolve the glue binding you to a doom loop. It can also reveal the secret loyalty under the loop. Perhaps you have been failing to finish the book because finishing would make your mother's life feel smaller to her. She never pursued her art, and your completion would expose the wound. Perhaps you break your relationships because faithfulness would force a different kind of faith. That love does not have to be chaste to be real. There is tragedy in this. Humans live out these invisible vows as if spirits signed them. When you see the signature, you can grieve and choose. Grief is unavoidable. The sabotage kept you attached to something. When you release it, you lose more than a problem. You lose a shape you lived inside and the comfort of complaining about it. You lose certain kinds of attention. You may lose people who like you helpless. These are losses worth mourning. Do not rush. The transformation Jung called individuation, the process of becoming what you truly are, beyond the persona, requires funerals. It requires that you honor the life the sabotage made possible, even if it was a life you must leave. You do not spit on the raft that carried you to shore. You bless it and let the tide take it. For a while, there will be temptations to go back. In the middle of the night, fear opens the old cupboard where you kept your familiar sabotage and invites you to put it on. It fits. It smells like home. This is when you discover what you actually believe. Do you believe that a life without the old sabotage is possible? Do you trust that the inner figures you met in the dark will keep faith when you do? Trust is built by repetition. You will have to walk past the cupboard many times. Some nights you will fail and wear the old coat to bed. Forgive yourself in the morning. Say the sentence Jung would have you say. What you resist persists. Non-resistance does not mean surrender. It means being honest about where you are and moving from there. There will also be days when you sabotage because your dream has become too big to carry alone. Sometimes you are not failing at the last step because of fear. You are failing because you need others, and you are ashamed of that need. Individuation does not mean isolation. The self-Jung's term for the totality of the psyche, the guiding wholeness, often brings people into your path as part of the cure. The saboteur might stop tripping you if you let someone walk alongside you. The culture worships solo heroes. The psyche prefers villages. A village might be 3 people who know when to text. Have you mailed the form? A village might be the friend who takes your phone the night before the exam with a kiss on the forehead and a joke that lifts the darkness a few inches. If this sounds small, that's because sanity is built with smallness. If you need glory to stop sabotaging, you will never stop. Glory is a ghost that never arrives. Take what the psyche offers. A quiet morning of concentration you did not believe you could have. A conversation where you tell the truth without dramatizing it. A day without the old collapse. Treat these occasions as sacred. You light a candle, not to worship productivity, but to mark the return of the soul to the scene. Over weeks and months, the saboteur learns that you are no longer the tyrant who demands obedience to a persona. You become a partner, and partnership turns enemies into elders. Do not mistake this softness for compromise with mediocrity. Softness is a way to hold fire without burning your hands. Eventually, the destroyed bridges will stop catching flame. New structures will rise a schedule that respects your nervous system. A relationship that honors your voice, a work that matches your bones. The sabotage did not vanish, it changed aspect. It becomes a warning when you drift and a joke when you get too grand. It becomes, in alchemical terms, a transformed substance. The nigredo, the black stage of confusion and failure, gives way to a whitening, a rubedo, a reddening. The heat that changes things. Alchemy is how Jung spoke of deep change because the psyche cooks us with time. Your sabotage is the lead. Your attention is the fire. Your humility is the vessel that won't crack when it gets hot. And yet, even as you change, honor the mystery. The unconscious is not a pet. It is an ocean. There will be days you do everything right and still watch yourself set the table for disaster. On those days, you remember the images, the trickster bowing, the child in the hall, the locked room. You bow back. You hold the child. You try the door. If it does not open, you don't declare the work pointless. You leave a key on the floor and come back tomorrow. The psyche hates urgency. It loves rhythm. Trust rhythm. The gravity of all this is not to make you solemn. It is to make you honest. Self-sabotage is not a moral failure. It is a misdirected devotion. You devoted yourself to staying safe by staying small, to staying loyal by staying stuck, to staying admired by being useful, to staying righteous by failing grandly. Now you can devote yourself to something else, becoming who you actually are. This is never tidy. It will cost you. But the thing it gives in return, a sense that your life fits you from the inside, is not a prize you can buy. It is a kind of silence in the chest that makes the world's noise tolerable. In the end, the saboteur is like a lighthouse that was built on the wrong shore. It flashes its warning light not to ruin your voyage, but because no one told it, you are not sailing those rocks anymore. so you correct the map. You leave a note in the lighthouse keeper's kitchen. You set a dinner table in there, and you invite him to sit and eat. You tell him about the new coastline and the vessel you have become. You do not overhaul him into a life coach. You let him keep his lantern. Occasionally, he will still throw a beam across your path at the wrong moment, and you will laugh from your belly and wave and keep going. Carl Jung watched people live lives that were too small for their souls and saw what their unconscious did to keep them honest. He watched the brilliant delay, the devoted betray, the careful ignite their own houses. He did not say, "Conquer yourself." He said, "Meet yourself." And meeting yourself includes the strange ones, the difficult ones, the saboteur included. If that sounds romantic, remember that the unconscious also carries teeth. He respected those teeth, and still, he walked into the cave. So ask yourself, here where the narration thins and your own voice has to grow louder, what is the single pattern you cannot stop repeating? Not the laundry of annoyances, the pattern that names you in the dark. Now, imagine it as a figure sitting across from you. What age is it? What expression? If you were to ask, "What are you trying to do for me?" what would it answer before your sophistication gets in the way? Write it down. Tape it where you cannot avoid it. Treat it as a diplomatic cable from a powerful ally whose methods you hate and whose motives you must learn. The truth about self-sabotage is not that it is the enemy. The truth is that it is a primitive friend kicking down doors because you ignored the knock. It is the trickster who steals your neatly packed suitcase, so you are forced to choose the one item you cannot live without. It is the grief that breaks your cursor, so you finally cry. It is also the addiction that will kill you if you romanticize it, the bitterness that can become your religion. That is why humility is not optional. Don't preach to yourself. Don't flatter yourself. Don't lie. What will surprise you is how ordinary your life becomes as the sabotage shifts. Ordinary in the best way, like bread. You get up and do what you said you'd do, and you do not melt in self-hatred if you fail one day. You apologize without a Greek chorus. You tell someone you are afraid, and they hold your hand, and the world does not end. You experience a new kind of fear, the quiet, friendly terror of being unhindered. It is not dramatic. It is not glamorous. It is simply yours. And still, there will be days when something old rises, when you find your hand reaching for the familiar handle that closes the door on your future. Let it touch the handle. Let it remember. Then, instead of slamming the door, open it a little and look into the room. Is it as comforting as you thought? Or is it smaller now, with the light on? Sometimes the only way to thank the sabotage for its service is to let it exist without letting it rule. We end not with a doctrine, but with a posture. A bow toward the unknown inside you. Jung's one-sentence key remains. If you make the unconscious conscious, your life does not become perfect. It becomes transparent. You begin to see who is piloting what, which winds are yours, which currents belong to older storms. You become less surprised by your own betrayals, and therefore less likely to repeat them. You remember that you are not a machine to be optimized, but a soul trying to find its way through time. So tonight, before you choose the usual small disaster, pause. Ask for a dream. Promise yourself you will write it down before you look at any glowing rectangle. If you wake with only a fragment, be grateful. It is enough. Treat it as a leaf carried downriver from a forest you have not yet walked. If this opened your eyes, subscribe to Boring History. because the truth is never boring.